Yeah, it was a very important meeting which called for by the Honorable Prime Minister Ji, and it was a top people who are involved in the healthcare delivery system had a time to interact. It was a pleasurable moment as the Honorable Prime Minister was so kind enough to listen to all our inputs and taking notes of it, and he was assuring at the end that it is with your inputs and definitely we will be able to overcome this corona pandemic. And he was so positive on that. He has called all the doctors to be positive. And one of the very important thing which he has emphasized was all the senior doctors should see to that you are training your colleagues and the junior doctors and always taking care of them, motivating them and helping them to encourage in the active role in the healthcare delivery system. He assured us to streamline the shortage of the drugs, and he was assured that he will specially look into that and ensure the supply of the drugs and supply of the oxygen will be streamlined and it will be made available to the country. He thanked the medical fraternity and all the healthcare delivery system who has participated and encouraged them to actively take part in the continued war and continued struggle. And the entire people, on behalf of the people who have participated and on behalf of the Indian Medical Association, we profusely thanked our Honorable Prime Minister for initiating the vaccination drive in this country. It was his decision that could only help the India to enroll and roll out this vaccination. We also brought to his notice the shortage which we are envisioning in the manpower. As the examinations for the postgraduate entrance examination is not held, we brought to his notice that 1,78,000 doctors are there preparing for this exam. So we have asked him to expedite the exam at the earliest so that these people can join as a postgraduate and the junior doctors in the healthcare delivery system. We also talked about the decision of pending FMGE, foreign medical graduate, and we have appealed to the Honorable Prime Minister to take a lenient view and take role of this foreign medical graduate into the medical healthcare system. And we are also happy that other system of people, Ayush people also participated. They also assured their full cooperation in the healthcare delivery system. And I am confident by this meeting as it has enhanced the morale of the healthcare professional, and it will definitely, they will take part very actively and ensure we will be trying our level best to overcome the second wave pandemic which is scraping the country today.
Well, that's very good to hear, Dr. Jailal. So you're saying that the Prime Minister was very receptive. So this is a big breaking news update. The Prime Minister was receptive, and he spoke about the vaccination program as well. What was discussed on the vaccination program? What was the feedback? Along with you, Dr. Jailal, I saw some of the other experts there. Very happy that, you know, because I know what you would have told him, because we've reported here on Republic TV. You've come live on Republic in the past. You have spoken about the vaccination program. You've also written to the Prime Minister in the past. What was the the view of most experts? Why don't you tell us a little bit about that? What was the thought of all these experts? What did they share? If you can please tell our viewers, because there's a lot of interest among viewers on what happened in that meeting, because whatever happened there will be discussed with the pharma giants next. And that meeting, we believe, has begun in the national capital. The Prime Minister is meeting vaccine makers. Tell our viewers, Dr. Jailal.
Yes, it was a meeting in which we were able to share on the views that how one of the most important thing emphasized is the COVID appropriate behaviors. And many experts was emphasized the Honorable Prime Minister to lead from the front and make a call to all the people to appropriate behavior of the COVID, that is wearing the mask and keeping the distance. And we have requested our Honorable Prime Minister to lead the campaign from the front so that his words will be taken very importantly by our honorable people of our country, and that will be a very positive impact it will create. That was Honorable Prime Minister accepted that with the grace, and he has assured that he will definitely emphasize on this into the entire community. The second issue which we have discussed about whether we need a lockdown at this moment, there was some difference of opinion were there. And some of the experts, including Indian Medical Association, we feel because lockdown it will be not only for the curtailing, the breaking the chain, it will always give us time to empower and recoup our infrastructure and the supply of the drugs, and everything can be in a way it will be able to be recouped. And some of the consultants, some of the leaders felt that lockdown may bring in economic burden,
yes.
So it may not be required.
Oh, that is big breaking news update, Dr. Jailal. That is a big breaking news update. You're saying that there was a difference of opinion on lockdown. That is a big breaking update. Sorry, go ahead. That's a big update. I just thought I'll just emphasize that. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, I think now, indeed, that is at least 2 points of view. Why we are saying lockdown is not for the completely locking down, but it will give us time. The inflow of the patients, the inflow of the certain exponential growth, there will be a break will happen. By that time, time that we will be able to utilize that time to recruit ourselves, to enhance our power, enhance our manpower, enhance our infrastructure to the maximum level. But other point of view, which is expressed by the some of the doctors, by the lockdown, the economic burden will be increasing, and the people will be even resistant to come for the vaccination. The people at need of the medical care may not be able to reach the hospital. But now the government has to take a very important decision on this. But what
Yeah.
all of us felt, that is a small curfew, like putting a curfew between 10 o'clock to early morning 4 o'clock, is not going to be of use. It is going to only add the congestion in the daytime. So let us do, if at all we are planning, let us plan for a lockdown in a sustained way and in a way in a well-guarded way. It has to be done.
Oh, that is a very big breaking news update, and that's the trend that we are seeing across India, Dr. Jailal. Most states are imposing this mini lockdown. In Delhi, it's not a complete lockdown; it's a mini lockdown. So you're saying that the overwhelming view of these experts was to impose smaller curfews. Is that correct? And did the Prime Minister respond to these suggestions? Did he have to say anything on that?
So Prime Minister has assured that he has to discuss with his further and take a decision, and he has not announced any decision at that moment.
Yeah. What was his message? His overall message to the medical community, the medical fraternity, all of you very renowned senior experts were part of that meeting. What did he have to say to all of you? What was maybe let's say the 4 or 5 top takeaways for you from there?
It was a positive feeling. Prime Minister presence was really encouraged and empowered the medical fraternity today. And he has thanked the medical fraternity for their human service in curtailing the first wave. And he has appealed to the medical fraternity to come positively on the second wave. And has definitely stimulated, empowered, and encouraged the medical fraternity. And he has assured that he will be with us in all our needs and all our suggestions. And that was a great moral boosting. I feel this is the one moment the Prime Minister has spent the time with us. It gives a moral boosting to the medical fraternity across the country, and we will be able to participate with more vigor and more energy, so that definitely we will be aggressively participating in this campaign against COVID, and we will be succeeding in this also.
That's fantastic. In fact, let me also tell you that we had some bit of breaking news coming in, so I just want to tell that to our viewers before I take the next question with you. The Allahabad High Court a few minutes back has ordered lockdown in 5 cities of Uttar Pradesh, including Kanpur, including Lucknow, Varanasi, Gorakhpur, Prayagraj, 5 cities where the court has had to intervene and said that the lockdown must be imposed. So that's a little bit of a breaking news update. And Dr. Jailal, who is the president of the IMA, was part of that meeting with the Prime Minister. And Dr. Jailal is telling our viewers that there was a difference of opinion on imposing a lockdown. Dr. Jailal, like we've seen in the first phase, lockdown can have adverse effects, and you mentioned that about the economic impact most importantly. And was that the overarching medical view, that a limited curfew-like situation with restrictions should do the job?
What we personally believe and the medical fraternity
is
Yeah.
the curfew which is imposing for the few certain hours, say from 10 o'clock in the night to morning 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning, is literally not going to stop us and help us in the break the chain.
Yeah.
It will only affect the small and the street level merchants and the workers, and it is going to affect them. It will not create the break the chain. And if we want the break chain, it is not a cyclical one. It has to be a continuous one. If you are ensuring a lockdown continuously for a week or a 10 days or a 20 days, 2 weeks, and that will be ensured there is a complete breaking the chain of propagation of the disease will happen. But instead of that, instead of curfew, and another option will be isolation, it's a selective isolation and containment of the zones where we are getting more cases. And that needs lot of planning, lot of involvement, lot of manpower also to be needed, because we need to be a compassionate care for the areas and where we are doing the containment is being done. And that is one aspect. Otherwise, if it is a lockdown is done, it is relatively an easy option. The people will be forced to stay in the house. The breaking of the chain will be effective. So many of the associations, we feel a continuous lockdown, it's a full-blown lockdown will be necessary at this moment for breaking the chain. Not necessarily the lockdown is going to overcome the disease. It can only postpone the disease. But technically, we have a shortage. This has to be overcome. Bed has to be enhanced. Now the railway has come in to enhance the bed strength. All this preparation needs another 3-4 days. And this days is required for us to up and come out with very more positively to face the challenge and overcome the disease.
Fantastic. Fantastic. In fact, I have another doctor who was part of that meeting, Dr. Gitanjali Bhatmanabane. Doctor, I hope I got your name correct. Forgive me if I didn't. You were part of that meeting. We saw you were part of that meeting. What was your message to the Prime Minister? Did you what point did you emphasize on? Dr. Gitanjali is the director of AIIMS Bhubaneswar, and she's joining us live. Very, very happy to have you live on the show this evening, Dr. Gitanjali. Why don't you tell our viewers about your takeaways from that meeting with the Prime Minister? So we have two doctors who are part of that panel with the Prime Minister speaking to us live on Republic. Dr. Gitanjali, over to you.
Yeah, so thank you very much. We had, during this meeting, there were a couple of points which I put across to our Honorable
Prime Minister. The first is that we could actually use telemedicine more for patients who need to come to the hospital, because at this point of time it is not very good for people to travel and then come to hospital for trivial conditions. So one of the things is we need to strengthen our telemedicine capabilities, which we have very good capabilities already. At AIIMS Bhubaneswar, we have something called the AIIMS Bhubaneswar Swasthya app, and we have done more than 80,000 consultations in the last year. So we want to strengthen that and tell our patients, if you can, please contact us through the phone, and then we will tell you if necessary and you need to be admitted, only then you should come. So that was the first thing. The second thing which I wanted to stress was that there are many patients who do not have COVID, but who have non-COVID conditions who require to be admitted to hospital. For example, the patients who come in with trauma, or patients who are pregnant and who have to come in for delivery, or there are people who have other cardiac, pulmonary, any number of symptoms for which they need to be coming to the hospital for non-COVID care. And unfortunately, with so much of focus on COVID, these non-COVID conditions do not get adequate focus. And this was something, so I believe that some hospitals, because the COVID care is mostly protocol-based. So you have a protocol, and if you follow it, there is generally patients tend to become better. And therefore, I feel that some hospitals at least should be focusing on non-COVID care. So these were the couple of points which I brought out.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. And I think that's one takeaway also that we have seen, Dr. Gitanjali, that, even during the first wave, we've seen the importance of telemedicine. And that is something that we're also seeing in the second wave. And I can personally tell you that, that's something that is happening, especially in the metros, in Tier 2, Tier 3 cities as well. We see that happening. What was the feedback that you got from the meeting? What was the overarching view of all the COVID experts, Dr. Gitanjali?
Yeah, so the thing was there were a lot of commonalities which people came out with, because now we know that even though that some of our healthcare workers are getting infected, but the point is that almost across the country about 70% or 80% of the healthcare workers are protected. So we need to take that advantage that people are protected, the healthcare workers are protected. And during the last wave also, the government said that we could use, some of the nursing students, the paramedical students, the interns. They all helped a great deal, along with the residents and the faculty. They did a fantastic job. And at that time there was no vaccine. So now they are also protected. So we are in a better position to use all of them, because the point is the looking after COVID patients is very labor intensive because of the PPE and so on. The nurses and the doctors, they cannot work for long periods of time. So, the shifts are shorter, which means we need to have more people. People get fatigued, so they need some kind of leave after a particular stint and so on. So we need to use anyone who is in healthcare who can help. And I think that is something which came out I feel there were more commonalities. Most
Yeah.
of the people had almost similar things to say. Yeah.
That's fantastic. And if I can, try and draw more from you, because I tried to pull out as much as I could from Dr. Jailal of the IMA, who's also with us on the panel, and he told us a little bit about what he felt and what came out of it, and he spoke also about the need for some restrictions, maybe limited restrictions, or some were of the view of more restrictions. What is your take on that, Dr. Gitanjali, on the need for let's say restrictions versus a mini lockdown versus a complete lockdown? Where do you stand on that? And what do you think is the need of the hour? Or will that have to be sort of staggered based on city to city basis?
Yeah, so I think a lockdown is a huge issue which the government has to take. But there has to be some kind of restriction, because if you see in many parts of the country, people are behaving as if there is nothing going wrong. They're not wearing the mask. So I feel we need to be a little more stricter about the use of mask, about distancing. And people we should keep on telling people, don't go out if you really don't need to go out. We need to ride out this wave for another 2 months or 3 months or how long it takes. And that's the way we are going to come out of this. So we need to have some kind of, self-motivation and motivate other people also, that we need not do things which are, not urgent or which are not mandatory, let me say that. So this is something which people should learn, and we have to have stricter, policing of, maybe internal campuses or even, residential areas where people are told that if you don't come out with masks, you will be penalized. That's the only way we can, because this is, we are not in a good situation as of now.
That's right. That's right, Doctor. And I completely agree with you there. I also have Dr. Sanjeev Bagai. Dr. Bagai, before I come across to you, I just want to take one more question with Dr. Gitanjali, if you don't mind. Dr. Gitanjali, I just want get your perspective on vaccinations, because a lot of people who are watching this also believe that what happened in the meeting with medical experts will have a bearing on the meeting that is already underway between the Prime Minister and pharma giants. Because pharmaceutical firms and companies and vaccine makers are right now meeting the Prime Minister. Where do you stand on the debate of vaccines, on universal vaccination versus the age group approach that we are taking now?
See, we have to start somewhere, and I think it is reasonable for us to start with the most vulnerable age group, and then we have scaled down, and now it is anyone above 45. Okay.
Yeah.
And I think that's the way to go, and I'm sure that within sooner than later, this will be open to everyone.
Yeah.
And this is the way to go. And I think the more important is to break down the myths which are surrounding the vaccination. Yes, a few people who have got the vaccine, even 2 doses, will test positive. But the point is that they will not have serious disease. And if people are, they are scared to take the vaccine because of this, that is a very wrong message which is going out. And I urge, the media, you should come out and tell people that go out there and take the vaccine. And this is the biggest, boon we have and the biggest weapon we have in our hand.
Completely agree with you. Couldn't agree with you more. Let me get in Dr. Sanjeev Bagai. Dr. Bagai, you've heard both Dr. Gitanjali and Dr. Jailal. What's your takeaway from what these doctors are saying about their interaction with the Prime Minister? Dr. Bagai.
So just listening to them, I think it's good, it's strong, it's a positive way forward. This is not a time to be looking at the past and trying to figure out which politics went bad or where we faulted. Very clearly, we've missed out on certain key aspects right from September, October till March. All of us collectively put our guard down, and we are in this situation. For me, there are 3 or 4 very key points. I think we need to completely enhance and completely maximize the utilization of digital technology. Point number 2 is we need to have a complete separate vertical. I said this even yesterday on your channels, the complete separate vertical of home care, which should become as strong as hospital care, which should include home triage. What is happening is we are overburdening the hospital systems with patients, one, who need not have COVID at all, of patients who are non-COVID altogether, or mild symptoms, or asymptomatic, or just worried people. So what we need to do is we need to demarcate it so that we don't flood the system which is already bursting. And three, very important, is we need to digitalize the system of supply chain management. At least in the major hospitals and the major healthcare units, we can't have a situation in which we run dry of oxygen or of emergency drugs or of ambulance services and so on. And last, very importantly, is very clearly we need to liberalize the vaccination campaign. All people above the age of 18 who have comorbids and all above the age of 45, irrespective of comorbids or no comorbids. We need to identify the extremely clinical vulnerable, which are the immunosuppressed patients, immunocompromised patients, solid organ tumors, blood cancers, and so on. They are 36 times more liable to get COVID than non-COVID patients. So this is extremely important that we need to do what we call as target vaccination. And I've said this again very often, we need to have a fair pricing system, especially in the COVID time in the private hospitals. If we are going to have a dysfunctional pricing system, patients have no choice. They will obviously have to go because the private healthcare is 75%. But some sort of a demarcated broad guidelines. Otherwise, the pricing which is presently prevailing in most of the large corporate chains are hurting a common person because it's out of reach, out of bounds. And I've said this very often, if COVID doesn't kill you, the bill will kill you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Dr. Anil Boraskar is also joining us, but before that, let me try and, because I know that Dr. Gitanjali is extremely busy, and Dr. Gitanjali and Dr. Jailal, just take one, short questions with you, and then I'll go across to Dr. Boraskar as well. I think we lost Dr. Boraskar. Dr. Jailal, there is some news coming in that the IMA has also written to the government on insurance schemes. Is that correct? Have you written to the government on any other issue?
Yes, we have yesterday we received a mail from the Honorable Secretary that he is stopping Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Yojana scheme to stop. And now we are requesting the Prime Minister to extend the scheme, and so that because the second wave is also there, more and more people are going to be affected. So all these healthcare professionals should have some insurance system. I think Honorable Prime Minister has positively noted down that, and we are expecting a positive reply for that. So one more point which one Prime Minister was very much repeating was the transparency in the COVID statistics which you are getting. Many states and many areas of the have been done, how many people are there, and the protocol-based transparent reporting system has been ensured. That Honorable Prime Minister is very much emphasizing on in all the reports which we are getting. All the statistics will take everything. There must be and transparency so that it will guide us to work more effectively in the combating the pandemic. Zero tolerance against COVID.
I'm just getting in some breaking news update. Dr. Jailal, I'm just getting in some breaking news update that Dr. Manmohan Singh, the former Prime Minister of India, has been admitted to AIIMS in New Delhi, and he has tested positive for COVID-19. And look at the situation; it's developing so fast. And nobody is really spared in this battle against COVID-19. We have to be very, 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 very careful. And that's why what Dr. Gitanjali said, what Dr. Bagai said, what Dr. Jailal has said, the importance of vaccination and the importance to spread awareness on vaccination, to be united in the strategy against vaccination. This is a breaking news update that I'm getting, Dr. Gitanjali. I'll take one word from you and then I'll let you go. I don't want to keep you back for too long. But I think, what this goes on to show, and I think we'll take that up as well, on the need for vaccination and to spread more awareness and to ensure that everyone who's eligible must get that jab at any cost.
Yes, I think that's the underlying message which should go across to everyone.
Yeah.
And, as you said, it spares no one, and that's the underlying message. Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Just stay with us. I just want to take one question from Dr. Anil Boraskar as well. Dr. Boraskar is joining us live. Dr. Boraskar is a diabetologist at the Asian Heart Institute, Raheja Hospital, also the Asian Cancer Hospital. He was also the Honorable Secretary of the Diabetic Association of India. Dr. Boraskar, we've been talking to experts, two doctors who were part of that meeting with the Prime Minister. Very positive outcome of that meeting. The fact is, like we did in the first wave, in the second wave, we have to be united and fight it as one. Be united in our approach keep all differences aside?
I fully agree that we should keep all the differences aside. Keep all the differences aside.
Yes.
Our only enemy is COVID. And whatever the machinery we have to fight against COVID, we should use it scientifically and appropriately. The first thing is social distancing, hand washing, and using the mask properly. This is a common sense. Everybody has to do it, no matter what vaccine you took and how many injections you took. And second thing, everybody must be vaccinated. There is no exception to the rule. Vaccines are safe, and there is a lot of data showing those people who have taken 2 shots of vaccines at a good interval, they have very little chance of developing complications of COVID. It's not guaranteed that you will not get COVID, but if you get it, it is very mild, and you may not need hospitalization, you may not need oxygen, you may not need ventilator. So taking vaccine is a responsibility of every Indian. Actually, anybody above the age of 40 must take, and they must also start vaccinating people after the age of 18, because now the new trend, the new mutated strain, we see that is affecting young people, because young people are little bindas. They don't think they will get it, but no, of late we are getting a lot of young deaths, and
Yeah.
if that you have to avoid, you must vaccinate everybody. This is what I have to tell.
Well, agree with you completely there. And Dr. Jailal, you want to respond? You want to respond to what Dr. Boraskar there to take that point forward?
I fully agree with him, and this is a demand which we are now asked
Yeah.
right to the activate the state up. This point was given today, brought into the knowledge of the Honorable Prime Minister Ji. I think definitely he will be looking into that and ensuring that universal vaccination is possible, made possible in our country.
Yeah. And you know, while we speak across India, I'll tell you, there were some pictures that came in, and you were part of that Prime Minister's meeting. And you know, you spoke about, I'll just play out those pictures as well, of the crowds that are gathering at different bus stops, at different stations, because, you know, the Delhi government may have announced a mini lockdown. Well, several cities are announcing a lockdown. You know, the ones who are affected the most are the migrants, right? And we've seen it in the first wave. And we're looking at large crowds in different parts of the country as well. I just want to play out some of those pictures that we had of the crowds. We'll play out those pictures of the crowds. We just, you know, our reporters are on location, and they were reporting about how thousands of people were gathering in these places. Now that's the fear, isn't it? Because on one hand you have these super spreader events, large gatherings, and exactly what's happening now, the migrant rush is something that we will have to tackle as well. Those are pictures that came in. I'll take a short break on that note. I request our panelists to stay with us. We'll take a short break and we'll come back with the live coverage. We are continuing with our live coverage. We've dedicated all our coverage to the COVID campaign.